So I have this fun little camper pool behind, and we're going to start off by working on our tree branch up here and getting that developed. So I've got this brown here that I'm going to come in, and you can see there's a little bit of the grain line. This is whimsical, so we don't have to be super specific. Come in here and just kind of formulate some lines. I don't want to fill it all in. I'll leave a white of the paper there. And I'll do the same thing along some of these branches here. I want to get these in because we will be putting a background here, and we want that to go ahead and dry first. And now I'm going to go in and do some green. I've got two greens here. We've got our strip of paper I've included in your take and paint, and we're just going to come in here and get these nice big beefy leaves filled in. You can always come in and do more detail later, but we just want to get the basics of the greenery in here so that it'll have a chance to dry. Like so. And now I'll just come in here and add a little bit more green pigment to these two. Get around those edges. And you would do the same thing over on the other side here. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the string of lights. I'm going to start with this yellow. It's daylight in this Woodlands kit. If you've got a yellow and a tan or something to mix together to make those fun, I'll do the cord here, but not the little outlets, or just don't want to combine. And I'm doing this kind of in segments, pulling toward myself so that my hand doesn't get tired and make a big fat line that I may not want. And I'll go and do these little areas. I'll do those after that yellow dries. I'm going to go in here and kind of get the tires. Now, it's a little bit of a liability to do this now because I may stick my hand in these wet black area and I could really mess up my design. Well, I only have this one tire because it doesn't have a front. So, since it's a pull behind, get that little hubcap there and the white wall. And I'll put my shadow in later for sure. This is still really wet since I dropped those in. I'm going to be careful. See how that one kind of went crazy over there? If I want to fix that, I can just get the white of the paper. I'll do the black first and I'll go back in and cover that. I see how all this, the black got into my yellow, so that's how you would fix it. And honestly, you would just wait till it dries before you add more. Okay, now I'm going to, I really missed my line there, but I'm going to let that go. And put that black there. And I've got a little bit here around this wheel well and this like kind of running board, just like that. And on my camper, the outside line here I did in black in my original. I have a couple of originals, so you can do this several different ways if you want. It's really fun. You can design your own camper and then do a whole another one. And I did the door in a silvery gray. Kind of trying to buzz through. This has got a lot of detail to it, so I want to not have a 2-hour long video here. Now I have, this is kind of white, so I'm going to go over this with some gray as a shadow here, and then pull that down and don't need quite as much water as that. And I really would like to leave it white on this one edge, so I'll try to get rid of that. And if I'd messed it up too bad, I would just make it gray. Up here. All right, so now I'm going to go back into this branch and darken that up and make it how I really want it. Make sure those get done. Now I have a white of the paper. I'm just going to take a clear brush and kind of go over that so that we can leave those lines in there with the texture. And that will go off the page into a picture frame, so I don't need to worry about finishing it, and kind of get rid of the white here. Just like so. I'm going to get a little bit of the green. Darker in here. And our lantern, I'm going to go over that. So one side goes over, one side goes under. Make your lantern whatever color you'd like. It's your lantern after all. I'm going to put some glass, look around there, and then I'll add yellow to that later. And I forgot to do this little stripe over here. And now I did my curtains in kind of a pinky color. It's up to you. Kind of a reddish pink. Maybe a darker. Across there. And I'll come in here now that that is pretty dry and get the handles. So the next thing is the camper color. I'm going to match this lantern over here with my camper color a little bit blue. And the way I chose to do it is to kind of follow these lines here. And then I'll go back in and blend from those lines. So I'll let those dry. Let me grab that edge here and across here. So let those dry up a little bit. Is going to be sort of dusky color or time of day. Whoop. So just let that flow. Need a little bit of brown to sort of come into here. Kind of a mixture of the ground and the grass, as would be true of a campsite. See, that grass kind of comes across here as well. Let's go now and sort of pull some of this. Can even, let's see, this was the blue we used, so we can even take a little bit of a light wash of that, a little less pigment, and kind of brush over that pigment there, and it'll loosen up a little bit depending on how much you put in there. And this will go right up to the top here. And that just leaves the lines pretty strong with a little bit of wash in the background. We'll do the same thing over here. Our camper's looking pretty cool, pretty cute. Just like so. More pronounced, and the lid of that. Go around this window just a little bit to give it definition. Oh, we have our fruit in here. So I've got orange in this kit because I added it. You could probably use this cavern if that's all you have. You could use yellow and make it lemons. And kind of paint this basket like so. Give it some dimension there. And I can go in underneath the little window slats there. And I'm going to kind of take that same blue and come across there. Going to let that dry a minute and put some details again into there. Now the big part is doing the background. I wanted it to look like it was trees and things back here, so I'm going to take this medium-sized brush. If you have the little one, you'll just have to figure out how you're going to push the brush to the side to give it a little bit of a fatter, kind of like this, to kind of get a fatter line. It's not impossible to do, and I'm going to come around some of these edges and get those solid, but I'm making this texture to make it look like there's shrubbery around or trees in this background, because we are in the woods with this camper. Okay, and then we've got some of that back here. We want enough pigment there to come in, and kind of have to fudge the big strokes underneath here because we can't move our brush quite that way. And over in here, and then do the same thing. I'm kind of going up. I'll show you where I did it, and you can kind of choose. I'm going to come along that string of lights. And right there it was more filled in, but I want to leave white of the paper, so just kind of be mindful of that, just to make sure you're giving the texture. If you want to take some of the texture away later, you can, but let's just get that laid out over here. And I just went kind of over this, and then I'm going to move. Need to make sure I have enough paint of the same color. I'm moving over here and maybe up in this area here, and then I kind of went from this side and a little like that. And now I've got that texture back there. I'm going to turn this over, clear my brush, and now I'm going to put the sky in here. So it depends on where you want your sky in your shrubbery, your tree line to come in, but I'm going to kind of go around here and wet that and put a little bit of this blue. It's the sky, but I think it's kind of like nighttime. And so, although it's a dusk, I'm going to kind of add a little bit of purple in here, and that's going to make it, in my opinion, look like it's evening time. You know, that time when you start the fire and you're playing games and making s'mores. And you can even add a little bit of gray in there if you want to kind of show that it is evening. Now I want to kind of get around these edges. You can go back in with your small brush if you have both, and just kind of define some of these edges a little bit. And I'll come in here and kind of add a little bit of that where the green meets. I really want that to be a stronger line, so I'll wait till it dries. And now I'll kind of run my brush, my clear brush, over some of this so it's not so white of the paper because it's pretty dry. Leaving that texture. You can always come in here and put more details in if you want while you're waiting for that to dry, or It's not going to stay exactly where I want it to be, but I am going to just kind of dance that back in here, and that's a little bit different looking, so I want it to look like it's in the foreground. So I'll just kind of do the same color down here so that it doesn't look different here than everywhere else so much. But you would wait till it's like dry, and then you can come back in and it'll look like a stronger line there. Get these yellow lights going, and if you didn't finish those, do that instead so they don't bleed everywhere. And there's your fun camper.